What's good everyone, my name is Chefkoch and today I want to talk about an icon of modern rap and fashion, Young Thug. If you clicked on this video, you already know who Young Thug is, but are you really aware of his musical and cultural impact on modern rap? In my opinion, Young Thug is shaping multiple generations of rappers with his innovative approach to music and known for his unconventional flows and melodies, unique vocal delivery and vocabulary, eclectic fashion sense, and genre-blurring creativity. He has inspired many artists in many different ways, and that's why I feel like he is an icon of modern and contemporary rap. I already made a similar video like this one about Gucci Mane, so watch it as well if you haven't yet, but now let's focus on Gucci's former protege Young Thug and analyze who he influenced in particular. Thugger was a huge influence on pretty much every rapper that emerged out of Atlanta during the last 10 years, most notably Lil Baby. Young Thug got him out of the street life and convinced him to take rapping seriously, so he acted as a real mentor for Baby. Thug provided him with guidance early in his career and even funded his studio time, helping him to develop his own soundscape, with which Lil Baby completely took over the rap industry in the late 2010s. So without Jeffrey, we probably would have never gotten amazing projects like Harder Than Ever, for example. Another Atlanta artist that Young Thug heavily influenced, of course, is Gunna. Thug directly nurtured Gunna's career, signing him to YSL Records and influencing his laid-back and melodic style. Gunna's flows and fashion choices mirror Thugger's avant-garde sensibilities, and both artists had incredible chemistry on songs together. They really were a dynamic duo, like you can witness on hits like Three-Headed Snake, for example. Now let's move on to the next artist that was influenced by Young Thug, Future. Despite the fact that Future predates Thug and that he has more musical experience than him, their mutual influence on each other is undeniable. They both often rely on autotune heavy and emotional trap music, and together they push the melodic trap sound forward with collaborative projects like Super Slimy. That's why it is super common to hear both Future and Thugger get mentioned when other artists, especially out of Atlanta, talk about their biggest inspirations. But they for sure also had an impact on each other, that's why I also wanted to mention Future in this video. Next to that, another artist that I need to talk about is Rich Homie Quan. And just like Jeffrey, Quan was an uprising artist out of Atlanta in the early 2010s, and both rappers would go very close, and together they released timeless bangers like Lifestyle, for example. Without Thugger, I don't think that Quan would have gotten as big as he was, but still, rest in peace to him, he left this world way too soon. Thug also paved the way for rappers like Playboi Carti to focus on melodies, energy and vibe rather than traditional lyricism, and Thugger's unpredictable delivery, which includes squeals, slurs, growls or falsettos, but also a baby voice, made him a trendsetter for other rappers to push vocal experimentation to its limits, like Carti but also Uno the Activist or Young Nudy do in their records. Thug really uses his voice as an instrument, and staying with Carti, his recent deep voice experimentations are also very much inspired by Young Thug in my opinion. For that, we just need to listen to Thugger's 2017 song Safe. As you can hear, Jeffrey's deep and grungy voice sounds quite similar to Carti's current voice, so it is fair to say that Carti probably started his vocal experimentations thanks to Jeffrey. Next to that, Carti started working with DJ Swamp Izzo for his upcoming album I Am Music, and Izzo actually got a lot of attention prior to that by hosting records from Thug, like I Came From Nothing for example, so we could also claim a source of influence on here. Now, moving on to the next artist, I feel like Thugger was a big influence on Sa Baby, because I can hear Jeffrey's influence in his vocal delivery, and Thugger even co-signed his breakout hit Pull Up With A Stick back when it came out. And another rapper that is influenced by Thug has to be the underground artist Hard Rock. His cadences and vocal experimentations are Thugger influenced, and Hard Rock even said that Thug is one of his favorite artists. And staying with the new wave ambient trap scene, artists like Skate Star, Rolling Tracks and Southside Silhouette definitely are also inspired by Thugger in my opinion. And further newcomers from Atlanta who Thug influenced have to be Tana and Che. This especially is obvious with Tana because he said that Jeffrey is his biggest music and fashion inspiration, which you can witness on records like his album Banner, but also in his music videos for example. Other than that, we of course have Lil Keat and Lil Goddard, who were heavily influenced and coached by Jeffrey himself. Young Thug plays an active role in fostering the careers of the next generation of rappers, so he became a real tastemaker, kind of like Gucci Mane before him, and with his own label YSL, he was able to kickstart the careers of many newer artists. like Young Ko, Kale or YTB Trench for example. But also producers like Wheezy, Metro Boomin and London on the track profited a lot from Thugger because their productions for him and the YSL entourage opened a lot of doors for them in the music industry. So we can conclude that Young Thug has a huge influence on the Atlanta rap scene. Therefore I view Jeffrey as the embodiment of the successful evolution of Southern hip hop because he played a critical role in establishing Atlanta as the epicenter of modern rap. But his influence does not stop at the city borders of ATL, it ranges all over the nation. For example, we can also find it in the music of Lil Uzi Vert, whose eccentric persona, boundary-pushing fashion and genre-defying sound are partly shaped by Young Thug's influence. Thug's willingness to experiment gave Uzi confidence to embrace his androgynous style, and both artists have high-pitched vocal deliveries as well as instrumental soundscapes, and Uzi even paid homage to Thugger by teasing his own Barter album, but sadly the project leaked and never released officially. And as another influence artist we have Trippie Redd, who blends rap, rock and R&B, much like Young Thug's willingness to mix genres. Thug's emotional and melodic delivery is a clear influence on Trippie, and both artists use emotionally charged vocals and genre-fluid sounds. In addition, I want to mention Don Toliver, whose ability to blend airy melodies with trap beats has traces of Jeffrey's style. Thug's boundary-breaking approach to rap inspired Don's instrumental flair, and both share a futuristic and melodic trap aesthetic. Other than that, Jeffrey clearly influenced J. Cole's and Drake's flow, especially on their verses for his own album Punk from 2021, but also on Mob Ties by Drake for example. On here he sounds just like Thug. So as you can see, many established mainstream rappers were inspired directly by Thugger, but he also had a major influence on underground rappers from the 2021 SoundCloud scene like Slum 6S and Fago. As part of the new wave of melodic rappers, Fago draws heavily from Thug's vocal experimentation and off-kilter flows, and both artists embrace high-energy performances with unorthodox vocal deliveries. When talking about the 2021 SoundCloud scene, we of course also need to mention Yeat, who explained in an interview that his willingness to experiment with unconventional flows and unique vocal styles is directly inspired by no other than Young Thug. Next to that, current rap newcomers like Pretty Fun or Ronchek are heavily influenced by Jeffrey. Especially Ronchek's song Hot 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 is peak 2015 Young Thug in my opinion. With that we talked about many different artists who are directly influenced by Thugger, therefore I view him as an actual rap icon who is saving the genre from the clutches of monotony with his unique flows and vocal experimentations, but also by blending rap with other genres, like with country on his 2017 album Beautiful Thugger Girls, or with reggae on his song Wyclef Jean. Next to that, by collaborating with actual pop stars like Camila Cabello, Post Malone or Elton John, Thug is revolutionizing the rap world and normalizing rap x pop crossovers as well. But apart from music, we also need to talk about Young Thug's widespread influence on the fashion world. Jeffrey changed the global expectations for how rappers can dress, and he is known for his flamboyant, eccentric and androgynous style. For example, Thug wore a dress by Alessandro Trincone for the cover of his Jeffrey mixtape, thereby breaking gender norms and fashion boundaries within hip-hop, which would also benefit other rappers such as Lil Uzi Vert or Playboi Carti to further disrupt societal norms for fashion. By rocking a lot of experimental outfits, Thug was promoting a genderless fashion style, which was very bold to do as a rapper in the 2010s, and he even modeled for Calvin Klein women's wear, because to quote the man himself, "In my world you can be a gangster with a dress." This philosophy has encouraged other artists and fans to embrace self-expression without being limited by societal norms, and at the same time, Thugger also made skinny jeans trendy again during an era where everybody was wearing baggy clothing. And nowadays, skinny jeans are deeply embedded in Atlanta fashion thanks to him. So, by blending high fashion with streetwear and embracing androgyny, Thug has set a new standard for creativity and self-expression, paving the way for artists and fans to see fashion as an art form rather than a set of rules. And he's made it clear that both rap and fashion are about individuality, not conformity. Another reason why I view Thug as a very important figure for contemporary fashion is his willingness to regularly collaborate with established fashion brands, for example with Gucci, Von Dutch or Puma. Therefore, I consider him to be a fashion icon of the 21st century. I mean, just look at this pic of him adjusting the outfit of a model during the V-Files runway show. That is icon shit right there. Moving on to a completely different subject, Young Thug also is evolving language and rap lyrics as well. Like I said before, Thug wants to create specific instantaneous feelings for his records to create a vibe, and to better transcribe this feeling he is using limited and simple words, which linguists would call reduction in speech. In old school hip hop, complex vocabulary and articulation was necessary to be taken seriously as a musician, but figures like Young Thug helped to make the genre sound more casual and accessible to the mainstream, which was essential for the success of rap music. Now, a lot of old-fashioned rap listeners don't understand that Thug's music is also an art form, but this phenomenon is not really new for artists. For example, in the late 19th century, when Impressionism was on the rise, this art movement was heavily criticized for depicting unfinished and unrealistic landscapes, but nowadays it's one of the most appreciated fine art movements. If we compare this to Young Thug, he received a lot of hate in the early 2010s for his experimental records, but in the 2020s, after some time passed, people started recognizing his importance to the rap cosmos and started appreciating him as a pioneer and icon he is. So at the end, time is always the best judge for art, and that's why I feel like his ability to articulate his authentic feelings through his own personal symbols, rather than the filter of verbal metaphors, is paramount. His music is aging really well, and by expressing his feelings more purely through sounds and onomatopoeias, Thug's music can be considered as a guide to the natural rhythm of the language, and it's never about what Thug is saying, it's about how he says it. As a conclusion, Thug for sure came a very long way from trying to sound like Lil Wayne, and after a decade of rapping, it's Thugger who is creating trends and influencing the modern rap scene. Therefore, Jeffrey's influence is extremely far-reaching, and he made it acceptable for rappers to explore eccentricity, both in their music and in their fashion. So it is fair to say that his fearlessness has cemented his position as an icon in both the rap and fashion world. Young Thug isn't just a rapper, he's a cultural architect whose legacy will continue to inspire future generations of artists and redefine hip-hop for years to come. And the majority of today's mainstream or underground artists have already incorporated elements of his groundbreaking style into their music. Therefore, I believe that Young Thug is a modern icon and a once-in-a-generation type of artist, due to being a visionary, pioneer and tastemaker all at the same time. With that being said, I want to thank you for watching this video till the end, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Cheers!